Hello, this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to remove and replace one of the corners on an MGC 6x6 and pretty much any other 6x6, and this will also work for 7x7s. So the first thing that we need to do is kind of identify which corner we need to remove. So let's say it's this corner that we need to remove. We're going to take out the edges that are kind of next to that corner on the top layer. So in this case, it would be this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. So if you're having some difficulties, have your screwdriver handy, because what you can do is actually loosen those three sides wrapped around the corner to allow for a little bit more play. Now this cube is relatively loose already, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But let's say you're having a hard time kind of doing some of these things, go ahead and just loosen them up. You can always tighten them later. So what you need to do first is we're going to remove some of the edges. To do that, we're going to turn the cube slightly like this, and we're going to go ahead and remove these two first. How to do that is we're just going to put our thumb underneath like this, and we're just going to pull to the right. So pulling it to the right, what that'll do is kind of unhook it slightly, and then once you kind of feel like there's enough play, you can probably just lift that out. So you can see that these pieces are shaped like hooks. They hook onto this hidden internal right here on the 7x7. It'll just be hooked underneath that middle piece. We're going to go ahead and repeat this over on this side as well. This time we're going to be pulling that way. So slightly turn the top. I'm use my left hand for this. And that's fine if these four pieces move around, because those are actually what we're going to be removing next. And if you want, what you can do is actually tape up these, let me just demonstrate it. Tape out these pieces right over here so they don't move when you're taking out some of the other pieces, because we're only really concerned about the four centers that are moving right now. So we're going to move this edge right here. I'm going to do this with my left hand. It should be a little bit easier now that there's a little bit more play. We're pulling to the left here, and we're just going to try to unhook it from the piece like that. With that out of the way, this corner should be a little bit floppy. You can actually just remove it from here, but I like to be safe, and I'm going to remove these four center pieces right here. So you can see they're already pretty loose. What we can do is we can just, wiggle them out of the puzzle. We don't want to do unnecessary force here. You shouldn't require any hard twisting or pulling. You might damage these because these are very, very fragile pieces. So we want to make sure that we're not applying ridiculous amounts of force to get these removed. From here, your corner should actually be loose enough that you could just pop it back out, and then you can replace it with your replacement corner. To replace the corner, just go ahead and put it through this gap right here. Again, the cube is slightly turned, and again, that allows for a little bit more play. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that in there. It's going to rest loosely in there like that, and we're just going to reverse the procedure here. So we're going to start off by putting in the four centers. So for that, we're going to start off with this one right here, which is your center, innermost center. We're going to take one of our center edges right here, the other center edge. And again, these will be very, very loose onto the puzzle. Don't worry if they flop down like that. So you can see it's floppy. That's perfectly fine. We just want to make sure they're kind of seated as they should be. So they are seated just fine right there. We're going to put in these two edges. Again, we're going to turn the top slightly to allow for a little bit more play. We're going to go ahead and do this kind of one at a time to make things a little bit easier. We'll start off with the innermost, the smaller one of the two edges. We'll put that into the puzzle. And no unnecessary force here, just kind of slide it into place. Next one might take a little bit of force, but not enough to break any of the pieces. We're just going to go ahead and kind of just put it into where it's supposed to go. And I'm just going to go ahead and push that in, kind of wiggle it around, make it so it goes down. And we're just trying to hook it around that other one that we just put in, like that. From here, we're going to put in the two that goes here. Again, we're going to do this separately to make our lives a little bit easier. So we work on the inner one first. We're trying to hook it around that white internal right there, like that. And then we're going to move on to our larger of the edges, and we're just going to go ahead and put it in there. Again, just kind of wiggle it in there. If you have to, loosen the cube. We don't want to use enough force. We're just going to try to spread the pieces slightly so it kind of makes its way in there, like that. From here, you can remove the tape. If you put tape and then tighten the cube, and it should be set to go. Hope that helps.